Welcome back, everybody. It is week number 29 for 2024, and this is my 29th behind the scenes update where I'll let you know what's going on behind the lens here at Freakin' Reviews. Now, first of all, as you notice, I'm inside. Usually I do these outdoors, but the last couple weeks have been oppressive out there. I can't go out there, it's too hot. So I'm having to do these updates in here until it cools off enough to even sit outside, even in the morning. It's only 8:30 in the morning and it's already too hot to sit out there, so I gotta be indoors at least this week, probably another week or two. Also, because I'm kind of still working on my next members only review, I've got kind of a mini review at the end of this video that's Las Vegas based, so hopefully you enjoy that. But as far as behind the scenes of Freakin' Reviews, yesterday I posted a top 5 to my main channel. I posted a top 5 to my shorts channel the previous week. So I'm going to kind of gauge reaction and results and see where I want to post a third of the 3 I created. I know I want to keep doing them. My original idea was to post it on my shorts channel as kind of like a clip/shorts channel, but I thought maybe I'll try my main channel and see what people think there. It's a bit early to gauge results. I'm not sure if it's really something people want to see or not on my main channel, but we'll have to figure that out. If you have any opinions, let me know what you think in the comments below. Speaking of my main channel, you ever take on a project that just ends up being way bigger than it should be, and you think to yourself, this is not going to yield any results that makes it worth my time? Well, I'm kind of in that spot right now. I had the brilliant idea a while back. I'm going to do a new Temu video. I'm going to make it kind of a big video. I'm going to make it long. I'm going to review a whole bunch of different things and see how it goes. Well, I'm about day 5 of working on that video, and I still have several days left. It's become a massive project. I can't see that it ends up being worth my time when all is said and done, but I'm already far enough along into it. I have to finish. I've already reviewed, I think, 11 out of the 15 products I wanted to do, but I don't know, it seemed, I underestimated how much work it was gonna be. It should be a good video and I hope you enjoy it, but it's taken me a lot longer to do than I thought it would. I have a couple other videos in the works, including 2 different members reviews, but they've all gotten pushed back because this one video has taken over my whole life. I'm gonna have to figure out how to avoid this in the future. But I'm hoping to have that video done by this weekend, but it's taken me so long already. I don't know, I just wanna get it out of the way and move on at this point. That happens though. I can't tell you how many times I start a video, I thought, oh, this is gonna be an easy, I'll knock this out one afternoon. It becomes several days. Sometimes I buy a product and I think it's going to be an evolved project and it's easy, so you never really know. I think taking on 15 product reviews in one video is probably a bit much. So because of that video that's taken over everything, I don't really have a lot to report behind the scenes. But I do have 2 more items of note for this video. One of them is my normal weekly story time, and the other one is something I haven't done yet. I'm going to be doing it later today. I'm going to take my phone along and show you some footage. So that will be at the end of this video because I don't know what I'm even going to shoot. But since about week 18, I've been telling stories most weeks that have something to do with the number of the week that it is. So this is week 29, so I thought to myself, I'm either going to tell a story from when I was 29 years old in 1997 or 29 years ago from 1995. I picked 1997. But this isn't really a story, it's more of a life lesson kind of learned. So this story might kind of meander around. If you can just bear with me, hopefully it yields something good to you. So flashback to 1997. I turned 29 in May of that year. I had just moved out of my parents' house. I lived with them on and off till I was almost 29. That's because I never really had a job that paid me well enough to support myself. I'd move out, I'd go broke, and then I'd move back in with them. It was kind of demoralizing. But in 1996, I finally found a job I liked for the first time in my life. Prior to that, I didn't think it was possible to even like your job. But when I found that job in 96, I really liked it a lot, and I stuck with it. So in 1997, I got promoted. I got a significant promotion because the guy that hired me quit, so I moved into his position. So for the first time in my life, not only did I make enough money to live on my own, but to do it so I wasn't broke all the time, and that was amazing. So I moved into my own apartment right when I turned 29 years old. I was married at the time, so my first wife was with me. It's funny, there was absolutely nothing spectacular about that apartment. It was a standard 2-bedroom apartment. The only reason I got 2 bedrooms was so I had visitors. Little did I know a year later I'd have 2 visitors, which were little kids come along. But the apartment there was nothing special about it. It was just an average apartment. But it was, for the first time, I actually felt like it was my place and I wasn't struggling to actually live there. I have nothing but fond memories about the early days of my first apartment at 29 years old. It's funny, I've bought houses since then. But my memories of moving to those houses does not compare to my memory of that average apartment, middle-class Las Vegas in 1997. It's kind of funny, I have such vivid memories of middle of 1997 living in my apartment that I felt like I was the king of my castle. For the first time ever, I really felt that way. I bought a large screen TV, which was I think 24 inches. This is the square ones with the big back to them. But I remember sitting there just watching the Weather Channel. Remember the local on the 8s? I'd watch that. I was just so, everything about being there was just a thrill to me. So that reminds me of a kind of a life lesson, which this might meander a little bit, but bear with me. When I was in high school, I read a book called The Peter Principle, which I kind of don't really remember that well, but I remember the basic tenet of it was that when you're working for a company, you'll continue to get promoted because you're good at your job until you get to a job you're not good at, and then you don't get promoted anymore. So I think people kind of do that with money as well. People they make more money, they take on more expenses, they move into bigger houses, they take on bigger cars, and then they never really improve their life because they're always still in debt and broke. I've had friends who make $200,000 that are broke. They don't have anything because they spend all their money on their house and their car. So I always try to remind myself that, you know, how happy I was in that small apartment in 1987. You don't need to always upgrade. Living well below your means is a much happier way to live than having a big house and a big car. I remember, I think it was Joe Rogan years ago, said something along the lines of when he first made it big and he bought a big house, he was so impressed by it. But a few months later, it was just his house. He wasn't impressed by it anymore, but he had a bigger payment. And that's kind of the same thing here. You can always upgrade to a bigger house and a bigger car. But is it really going to improve your life that much? Will it improve your life more than having extra money in the bank as a security? I don't know. I don't think I've ever really been as happy in a house than I was in that small apartment, because I knew how hard I had worked and I knew how hard I had struggled to get to that point. And I felt like I was finally in a place where I was reaping some rewards of all my hard work. Over time, I think people tend to forget about that kind of stuff and they just focus on the object rather than the big picture of what happiness really is. So you might find it funny that sometimes I'll actually go on YouTube and I'll pull up a video of the Weather Channel from 1997 and just watch that, because it brings back memories of how that felt to have my own place and to be financially well enough off to live on my own for the first time at almost 30 years old. The other moral to that story, which I tell a lot of young people, because it's kind of hard to survive out there nowadays. Like, I couldn't buy a house now if I was a young person. It's definitely hard out there these days. So I try to tell younger people that, you know, there's no time frame. There's no clock that says you have to have everything figured out by a certain age. You don't. Most of my friends from high school have changed careers a couple of times. So even if you haven't figured out by the time you're 30, you might figure something else out by the time you're 40. So now some people, they stay on the same path their entire lives. That's the exception, not the rule. Most people kind of meander through different jobs, different careers, different houses. So you never really have everything figured out until, I guess, you're retired maybe, but there's no time frame. At 29 years old, I thought I had it all figured out. I've got a job that pays well enough for me to live on my own. I got my own place. I'm set. Little did I know that was just a small sliver of my life that could change completely after that. So going back way to the beginning of this meandering story to 1997 when I was 29 years old, is you don't always have to have things figured out, and they're always going to change. And living a lifestyle below your means is going to provide much more happiness than having a big house and big cars that impress nobody but you. And even then, a lot of times people regret it because it costs too much money. But I've got some friends in town and we're heading down to the Omega Mart, which I've never been to before. It's down at Area 15. I know nothing about it. It looks like a grocery store, but it's kind of like an artistic thing. I don't know. A lot of people told me I should go. I'm going. I'm going to take my phone along with me and I'm going to film it for you, and I'll post whatever I shot here, and then I'll have a few words at the end. So let's head over to the Omega Mart and see what we got there. I just got back from Omega Mart. That was a trip. I was just going to show a montage of what I shot there, but I think I need to explain it to you first. So when you first get there, just on the outside, the Omega Mart looks like just like a grocery store. And then you get inside and you start seeing on the shelves, there's a lot of things that don't look quite like normal products. So as it turns out, half the things in there you can actually buy. My souvenir was this peanut goo, which looks like it's actually peanut butter you can eat. I'll try a little bit later. A lot of the things on the shelves are actually just boxes, but I think you can buy the boxes anyways. But the fake grocery store is only a sliver of what's there. There's a whole bunch of secret passages that lead to a back section, and that's where everything's happening. There's all kinds of little rooms with like electronic devices and just weird decorations everywhere. It's kind of like a fun house. It's just bizarre. There's all kinds of strange things back there. I had pretty low expectations that they were far exceeded. I actually had a lot of fun there. I would definitely go back. So now that I've told you what I saw, let me show you with the footage I shot. some secret area in here with like moving eyeballs on the walls. That's pretty cool. Let's see where this goes. How am I gonna fit through that?